The origins of the assassins. Picture a lone fortress perched atop a mountain, where the horizon meets the sky in a stony embrace with the clouds. There, in Alamut, something stronger than swords or walls was born. The Order of Assassins, led by the legendary Hassan-i Sabbah. In the 11th century, the Ismailis, a marginalized faction of Shia Islam, needed more than faith. They needed strategy. Persecuted by Sunnis and isolated after the Fatimid Caliphate's succession crisis, they found their refuge and secret weapon in Alamut. And what a powerful weapon it was. Every move they made was meticulously calculated, like a chess master setting up a checkmate. It was there that the dance of shadows began, the art of medieval espionage. But who were they, really? They weren't mere guerrillas, but a new and ingenious form of resistance. Invisible warriors who didn't need massive armies to make an impact. Hassan-i Sabbah wasn't just a military leader. He was a brilliant strategist, capable of shaping minds and turning beliefs into powerful weapons. The assassins of Alamut never acted randomly. Their attacks were meticulously aimed at the very pillars that upheld their enemies. In this world of intrigue and unshakable faith, stories and mysteries emerged, echoing through time like whispers carried by the wind. Have you ever wondered what could drive such a small group to challenge entire empires? The secret wasn't just in their sharp daggers, but in something far deeper. And at the heart of this enigma, Hassan's legend was only beginning, promising to reshape the world. Not with conventional battles, but with the power of an army of lethal shadows. Elite assassins. Under the visionary leadership of Hassan-i Sabbah, the assassins of Alamut became more than mere combatants. They became a living legend. Imagine warriors capable of blending into crowds, clad in simple robes, passing unnoticed as monks or merchants. And when the moment came, a precise strike from their iconic daggers ended the story. These men, known as the Fedayeen, underwent a trial by fire for both body and mind. Strength wasn't enough. Cunning was the key. Each mission was a theater of psychological precision, where the greatest weapon wasn't the blade itself, but the fear it instilled. It is said that even Saladin, the great Muslim leader, slept in his armor, fearing that the assassins might find him even in his dreams. But don't be fooled into thinking their tactics were limited to direct attacks. They knew that a message could be as powerful as the strike itself. There are stories of leaders waking up to find a dagger embedded near their bed, a silent but relentless warning. We could have taken your life, but we chose not to. Yet. It was as if fate itself was watching, ready to act at the slightest misstep. The secret assassin order elevated the concept of espionage to near mythical heights. The Crusaders' accounts of these assassins spread like wildfire across medieval Europe. Yet, amid all the tales, the real question remained: who would be the next shadow to fall? With such a unique army, the fortress of Alamut became known as the dwelling of something far beyond common understanding. The Fortress of Alamut. Picture a castle so tall it seemed to kiss the sky, shrouded in the mist of the Persian mountains, as impenetrable as if the gods themselves had carved it from the rock. Alamut, the eagle's nest, wasn't just a fortress, it was a symbol of resilience and brilliance. In 1190, Hassan-i Sabbah took control of this stronghold without shedding a single drop of blood. Not with swords, but with words and cunning. From its heights, he observed a world in perpetual conflict, and Alamut became a true sanctuary for the secret assassin order, a refuge where strategies and philosophies were shaped with the patience of someone who understood that great victories are never born out of haste. The castle, located near the city of Qazvin in modern-day Iran, was more than just walls and ramparts. It housed study halls, secret armories, and a library filled with rare and precious knowledge. It's no wonder that even their enemies trembled at the mere mention of its name. For centuries, Alamut withstood enemy forces, from Sunni rulers to the most determined crusaders. It was as if the mountain itself conspired to protect them. But every stronghold faces its ultimate test, and the assassins knew that the world would soon bring a far more devastating enemy than any crusader or Islamic army. Notable assassinations. The true hallmark of the assassins of Alamut wasn't brute strength, but the surgical precision of their strikes. One of their most famous feats was the assassination of Nizam al-Mulk, a Sunni vizier whose influence rivaled that of kings. A swift, deadly blow in the midst of carefully orchestrated chaos. But this mission wasn't just about eliminating a man. It was about sending a message to the political elite. No wall is high enough, no guard is vigilant enough. The impact was so profound that Saladin, the fearsome general, became nearly paranoid, reinforcing his personal defenses. After all, the assassins didn't just attack, they dismantled mines. Another legendary episode was the assassination of Conrad of Montferrat in 1992. Imagine two men dressed as monks, approaching with peaceful gestures and serene expressions, only for their daggers to glint in the sunlight a moment later. Conrad fell where he stood, in broad daylight. The accounts of this event crossed seas and borders, fueling terror throughout medieval Europe. More than warriors, the Nizaris were maestros of a dark symphony, where the life of a king or general could be taken with a single calculated move. And with every act, the winds of the Crusades carried tales of both admiration and dread, as the next threat hid beneath the humble cloak of a monk. Assassins versus Crusaders and Saladin. Amid the chaos of the Crusades, as kings and warriors fought over the Holy Land with blood and steel, the assassins of Alamut emerged as an unpredictable third force. They didn't pick sides. To them, both Christian and Muslim leaders were targets, as long as they posed a threat to the Nizaris. Saladin himself felt their deadly intent up close. One of the tensest moments of his campaign came when he realized that not only could crusaders like Richard the Lionheart hunt him down, but also the silent shadows of the assassins. It is said he bolstered his personal guard with relentless vigilance, because he knew that a single misstep could cost him his life. But these stories didn't stay confined to the Middle East. Crusaders who survived encounters with the secret assassin order returned to Europe with tales so fantastical they bordered on the supernatural. Imagine the impact. Nobles and commoners alike listening to stories of men who appeared and disappeared like ghosts, dressed in humble robes and wielding razor-sharp blades like a death sentence. Even Richard the Lionheart, one of the boldest warriors of his time, acknowledged the lethality of these invisible foes. In this game of intrigue and terror, the assassins accomplished something even massive armies could not. They planted fear deep within the hearts of the era's greatest commanders. And as these legends spread, the Nizari fortresses grew stronger, until a new kind of threat appeared. One that feared no shadows, for it brought destruction in broad daylight. The Fall of Alamut. The year was 1256, and the known world trembled under the hooves of the Mongol armies. Led by Hulagu Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, destruction marched relentlessly toward the Persian mountains. Alamut, the legendary Eagle's Nest, seemed like an unreachable refuge. But to the Mongols, no fortress was invincible. With a devastating strategy, Hulagu laid siege to Alamut and other Nizari strongholds, wielding the overwhelming might of his army and tunnels filled with explosives. The walls that had withstood generations crumbled beneath the fire and fury. The precious knowledge stored in the libraries was lost in the flames, and the assassins faced an enemy that knew no fear, only annihilation. No matter how skillfully or bravely they fought, the Nizaris were overwhelmed by the Mongols' unrelenting force. Each tower that fell at Alamut was another blow to the legacy of the secret assassin order, marking the tragic end of a kingdom built on intelligence and courage. Yet, though their strongholds were destroyed, their legacy endured. Even after the devastation, the memory of the assassins lived on, spreading across the world like whispered stories in taverns and war councils. It wasn't the end of an idea, only the end of its most grand incarnation. But like all legends, this story hadn't truly ended. The seed planted at Alamut would continue to grow in ways no one could have foreseen. Cultural impact. There are stories that drift through centuries like whispers in the wind, and the assassins of Alamut became one of those enduring legends. Their impact wasn't just military, it was cultural. The mere mention of their name evoked equal parts fear and fascination. The word assassin, as we know it today, comes from the distorted term Hashashin, a nickname used by the Nizaris' enemies, often tied to rumors of hashish use. However, these tales, popularized by travelers like Marco Polo, lack concrete evidence. The idea of artificial paradises where followers were hypnotized into blind obedience was likely more of a fable than a historical fact. But their legacy wasn't confined to exaggerations. Their tactics of espionage, infiltration, and surgical assassinations were studied and feared by leaders worldwide. From European kings to modern scholars, many have been captivated by the precision and discipline of this order. Even after the fall of Alamut, the Nizari Ismaili faith survived, and to this day, their descendant, A.S.K. IV, is recognized as a spiritual leader. It's fascinating to think that something born in the shadows of a Persian mountain still echoes in modern popular culture. And here we are, centuries later, retelling the sagas of a group that, though long gone, shaped the very concept of secrecy and strategy. The story of the assassins of Alamut shows us that sometimes the most feared forces aren't those marching in broad daylight, but the ones watching from the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. If there's anything to learn from their journey of cunning and resilience, it's that knowledge and strategy can shift the course of empires. After all, how many times have we let ourselves be intimidated by the great armies of life, when, in reality, all we need is a solid plan and the courage to act? So, I ask you, what's stopping you from taking the next step toward your own victory? What's your Alamut, that fortress you need to conquer? If this story sparked something within you, a sense of strategy, or even a desire to face your challenges more intelligently, share your thoughts in the comments. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep diving into epic stories and valuable lessons like this one. After all, knowledge may just be the most powerful weapon of all. Stay curious.